All right, it's 6:30 and I think we're all here. Justin skip out on us? John, you want to lead us in our invocation?
I'll try. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for everything you do in our life, Lord. And we just ask you to be with each and everybody here, Lord. Just help us make decisions, Lord. And just thank you for keeping a hedge of protection around all of us. Yes. And these things we ask in your holy, precious name. Amen.
Amen. Samantha, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and convene our meeting. Start with roll call. Missy Cottle.
Here.
Jeff Upton.
Here.
Jan Throgmorton. Absent. Lordy Lindaberry.
Here.
John Collins.
Here.
Dina McKnight.
Here.
Don Rollins.
Here.
Jimmy Conda.
Here.
Our city attorney is present. Our city clerk is absent, and Christie is filling in her place. The first item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda as it was mailed. Are there any changes that we need to make? If not, do we have a motion?
A motion to accept and adopt those minutes.
Second.
Motion second to adopt the agenda as it was mailed. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Next is the approval of our meeting minutes from October 10th. Do we have any edits that need to be made to those? We have a motion.
Make a motion we approve the minutes as mailed.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the minutes as mailed. All those in favor say yes.
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 Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Next is our public forum, where we welcome anyone to come and address the council. We ask that you please limit your discussion to 2 minutes, and please keep all remarks and questions directed toward the council. Would anybody like to address the council tonight? Yes, ma'am. Come up and tell us who you are.
Hello. Y'all may know me from years ago. I did run the Airbnb on McGee Street at the old barn house, which, you know, we had problems in the past with big parties because it's 4,600 square foot house. So I wanted to let you know I'm no longer doing that. And we have turned this into a donation-based yoga center with donation-based classes. And I just wanted to let the community know about us and what we're trying to bring wellness to the community. And I wanted Paul, who is our lead teacher, to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
Good evening. Thank you all for your time. As Diana said, my name is Paul, and I'm the head teacher at our new yoga center, 7 Diamond Mudra. We will be ramping up slowly through the end of the year, and we'll be adding offerings and events throughout 2024. At this time, the group sessions, as they come into the calendar, are free and open to the public, as Diana said, and on a donation basis. We have an open house Saturday, December 16th, and we are starting to take visitors now as our renovations make progress. I am now living at the barn house and couldn't be happier to be there and to be in West Fork after several years of dreaming of the right place to build a healing center. Regarding the open house in December, we are wondering about possible assistance with some parking when we have certain events that might be larger than what we can hold. And if we have time for that at the end, I'll let Dinah come back and give a little more details about that. In the midst of the cleaning and moving and remodeling, we do have a few large items that are available, if I'm allowed to mention that. And if anybody interested in learning more, they can contact us. Otherwise, it's an honor to be with you and to have the opportunity to serve this community. Thanks again, and God bless you. If you have anything to add about the parking.
So with the open house, and just a couple of times a year we may have larger events, and we were wondering about using the parking at the water company, the administration building. It'd be a Saturday, it'd be a weekend thing, and I'm not sure who I'm supposed to talk to about that, but that's another reason why I'm here right now. Is it wouldn't be something that happens very often, open house or big events.
Or very seldom, rather.
Yes, I mean during yoga classes during the week, we're not expecting many people. We have parking for that at the place. But we also brought some flyers with some information. If anybody wants to talk to us afterwards, we have some information about the upcoming classes and open house.
Sure.
You have a website?
We do not. We have a Facebook page,
Right now, Facebook.
7 Diamond Mudra. We spell out the 7 Diamond Mudra. Facebook page with events and times and classes. Everything is going to be on there as well. And also, I'm a massage therapist, so I'll be doing body work out there as well. So we have some information and flyers. If anybody wants to talk to us afterwards, we'll be glad to talk to you.
Cool. Thank you.
you.
Would anyone else like to address the council tonight? No? Okay, we'll close the public forum and move into our business reports. We'll start with the Planning Commission. Walter?
Good evening. So it's not much, unfortunately. Last week we didn't have anything on the agenda except possibly reschedule a public hearing, which fell through again, so no public hearing. And then for our agenda this week, coming up Thursday, we've got 3 lot splits. Seem pretty straightforward from the little surveys we got. And sadly also no Juliet again this month. We really are expecting her for December though. And so if you guys have any thoughts on where we're going with the next round of changes to the ordinance, this meeting's a good chance to come in and just kind of bounce ideas, because right now it's just going to be a pretty quick meeting of 3 lot splits.
Any questions for Walter?
Where are the lot splits?
Yes.
Where are do you know the addresses?
I do know the addresses.
Well, he's looking that up. I never did address your parking concern.
Yes.
I'm sure that's fine. If you would kind of give Christy or somebody at admin a heads up
I
that,
sure will.
that it's the grand opening or whatever.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The 3 lot splits, one is for Michael Doherty on 12126 Green Plastic Road. The other one is for Lonnie Wilson with Wilson Auction and Realty Group at 13653 West Mountain. And then the other one is for a Stone Rentals LLC, and that is at 10934 and, so that might be a combination. But anyways, 10934 and 10938 Southeast Campbell. So, not really in the middle of town anywhere,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
you know, still within our planning area.
Any other questions for Walter? No? Thank you, sir. Next is a court report. Tracy?
And thank you for the minutes.
You're welcome. Well, that's Elizabeth. You thank
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
I like them.
Okay. I'm not gonna say anything about the report, it's all right here. I will say that I'm happy that the disbursements went back up this month, because last month was a little scary. The courts will be closed early on Thursday, and we'll be closed on Friday. We're going out of town for training, going to Texarkana. And Gene is supposed to be installing our new backup software. He says he thinks it'll be in this week, and he'd like to get it up and running, our IT guy, Gene. I guess I have a whole lot.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions for Tracy?
What did y'all end up doing on all the boxes, the shredding stuff?
So we have to get the destroy order together. There, if you'd like to see the stack, they're in that room right over there. We haven't gotten to them. We have been totally swamped. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's just been super, super busy. I think everybody started writing tickets again. But anyway, we've been really busy doing that, so we haven't gotten anything else done on the boxes, but we do have every box stored in the little office over there. So they're out of the way, and I'm no longer paying for storage.
Right, okay.
So
Anything else for Tracy?
thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Next is our library report. Marie?
Good evening. So our checkouts have gone up a lot this month. So we're at 3,086 checkouts this month. We've also had 2,058 in-person visits. Apparently the parking lot being in working order has helped us a lot. So we're also really excited that we had 45 people sign up in this last month for our newsletter. So that was really exciting. Even more so is our new youth services librarian who is here, Micah. Just so you know, she's got a couple of projects that, is it okay if she goes ahead and shares what she's
Absolutely.
working on right now? All right.
Hello, I'm Micah Kempner, and I'm really excited to be here. And so we have a couple new projects for the spring semester. We're implementing 2 new programs, and which is called Reading Rhythm, which is learning literacy through musical patterns, and speech, so syllables and speech. We play them on the music, and we kind of learn how to decode that way. For our adult program, we're going to be doing Ozark folklore, so we're going to be discussing different types of Ozark communities, whether it's through music or storytelling, storytelling through music, just anything that's about Ozark that helps through literacy. So we're really excited to be doing those in the spring semester. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Micah? We're gonna let her off the hook that easy.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Good.
I do have one for the library.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know if you were finished.
All right, I'm back up.
Sorry. So, are y'all gonna do the breakfast with Santa and the basket sales at the library?
Yes, both of those are still on. So the basket sales are going to start on the Monday after Thanksgiving. And then I want to say it's December 3rd. It's the first Saturday is going to be our breakfast with Santa. So the Friends of the Library run that, but Mike and I will both be there doing the craft.
Okay.
Oh, and one more thing. The library board meeting will be next Monday at 10 a.m. So, yeah. Any more questions? Sorry, I ran off.
No? Did anyone go down to the Shire Fest and build a mud house with Marie? No? I didn't build a mud house, but I did say hello.
I'm kind of hoping that I can go and they'll still be there because they put them out in the garden for the fairies. So
Oh, cool.
if you get a chance, swing by and see if you can spot some fairy houses out in their garden.
All right, anything else for Marie? No? Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Police Department, Chief Halliburton.
Hello, everyone. All right, let's start off in the month of October. We had 503 calls for service, and I know that seems like an uptick, but it's actually not, because we did not have a category that indicated self-initiated activity, and now that we are fully staffed, we have a lot more self-initiated activity. So next month I'll have a category for that to tell you the difference between how many calls for service and how much we initiated ourselves. We had 41 agency assist calls, 32 backup officer calls from other agencies. Did 219 traffic stops, we issued 74 tickets. And I was able to participate in the trunk or treat that we had this year. It was a lot of fun at the elementary school here, and looking forward to that again. I was also at the school with the superintendent, Mr. Carnes, and we were able to sit down and talk about the SRO budget, and we tentatively agreed on a decrease in how much they're participating in from 65 to 58%. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Chief? So Chief, you also left out something else you did this month. So I ran into the Chief at
the Shire Festival.
At the Shire Festival. We had the honor of judging.
Yes.
We didn't agree on who the winner was, but we had a pretty good time anyway.
What's all that? It was a lot of fun. I see how dedicated they are to it, and I might actually wear a costume next year myself. Because it looked like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We just got a donation from Mr. Collins here for $1,500 for our upcoming Shop with a Cop. Awesome. So looking forward to participating in that event as well.
It was from West Fest. I don't have that kind of money. Yeah.
The guy who runs West Fest.
Maybe you'll match what West Fest did. I think that's where the Chief was going with that. No question for Chief Halliburton? Okay, thank you, sir. Next, Public Works, Isaac.
I don't have much. My committee and I were able to meet last Tuesday, so you have some minutes in there. Discuss the water rates. We had to have minutes in there for my board to move forward with that. My typical day-to-day stuff is winding down as everybody takes their deer hunting vacations and the end of the year off, so it's hard to get anything moving this time of year. I spend most of my time down here with Smith Street with the contractor. He's trying to wrap up the water line. Sewer's all in and tested. They still have to pull a mandrel through there, but they should be wrapping that up. Hopefully by the first of the year, they're supposed to be out of there. So, and then I'm assuming some home builders will come in after them. But other than that, I would take any questions you got.
Go
We're
ahead,
gonna
Don.
patch McKnight.
Where they dug across it,
Yeah.
they'll come back and hot mix that. Hopefully better than I hot mix the one right here. That thing keeps going down and down. So they'll come back and do all that. I don't know what it was. We read today, Dawn. Christy may know.
I don't know. You know,
50% last month.
Yeah, 52.
52.
Yeah. It was way better than that this month.
Awesome.
Yeah. We did have,
fit last month?
No, I just like to know what our water loss is.
I don't know, we fixed 4 or 5 leaks this month, so nothing major. Some service line leaks that,
We have to have citizens a little more aware of, water.
well, I was telling Nick earlier, where they replaced the sewer in West Fork Acres, everywhere they dug underneath one of the water services, we're slowly but surely replacing all those, because when they leak, they go straight into that ditch and we can't see them.
Right.
So when we see the water usage go up at the pump station, we go through there and start listening on meters and usually find one or two. So yeah, those don't surface. So anything else?
So do we have something in place? You said something like the meters that you noticed went up. Do we have something in place to like stop this from happening? Or like, is there an alarm that could go off on like your phone if we go over so many gallons or daily usage or?
Well, I wish. I can see that meter daily, so I don't look at it daily. I usually look at it more for the sewer when it's raining to see what we're going up. And I just that happened to be during the rain event when that leak happened, and I switched over to the water and seen that, whoa, we're using 300,000 gallons of water a day. So,
Yeah.
so then we started looking. But yes, I can see that meter not in real time. I see it about 14 hours after the fact. So, and if it's a big leak, then I get tank alarms. It'll draw the tanks down. So I do get alarmed on big ones. That just happened to be one that wasn't big enough to pull water off the tank.
But on the smaller leaks, if we have one of the newer meters, can we not see that daily?
Yeah, you can see leaks on your side.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if people are aware of that or not, but
We have several that are signed up for the Eye on Water
yeah,
for the
if
meters.
they'll look on their Eye on Water, it'll tell you, and there's graphs on there that'll tell you that you're using way more than you normally do. That's how I found it.
And it's just like any other app. You can get the push notifications that it'll notify you, hey, your usage is up 15% or this week. or
So
something.
as citizens, if we'll just download that app and pay attention to our app, we can help the city by saying, hey, I got a leak somewhere, can you come out and let's see what we can figure out? Because if every one of us do that and we have 1,400 water meters in West Fork, well, we can cut down quite a bit of loss. Normally, if that's doing that, it's going to cost you anyway. But it's still wasting water.
Yeah.
even though it's getting paid for.
Yeah,
That's a cool thing though.
it is.
It really
Yeah, and
is.
we're hoping to get more and more of them, so. It does help that we have one entire side of town was like that, so we can break that. We have to back into it with a little bit of math, but we can figure water loss for this side of town versus that side of town, so.
Any other questions for Isaac?
All right.
Thank you, sir. Next, Parks Director Chad Harris.
So I just got a couple of updates to bring to you. Our bathrooms at Carter are in production, and we hope to get those completed in sometime early after the new year, which will be nice. Also, I'm looking forward to not having any permanent porta potties anymore. We'll still have some seasonal and some special events, but not having to pay for those. Our last one that we have now is at Carter, and once these are installed, we'll get rid of those, so I'm excited about that. We also got our scoreboards for Field 2 and 4 at Carter Park ordered, and we were able to sell enough advertisement to pay for those scoreboards as well as most of the installation. We're still working on some installation costs, so we may have to put out a little bit of money, but not a lot. So we were able to sell $35,000 in advertisements to help pay for that. So, and those are supposed to be here around the first of the year as well. So last week we did have our tree planting and Arbor Day celebration. The mayor got to read his proclamation, and we didn't have a big turnout, but it was nice. We planted 3 new trees in the gardens at Riverside. Isaac's guys started prepping Christmas lights today. We're going to work on those. We're going to help them and get those ready to hang early next week, weather permitting. So we'll be seeing our Christmas decorations. We'll have it all for sure completed by the parade on the 6th. We'll have our tree ready for the tree lighting and all that as well. So still working on fields and doing our regular maintenance, and that's what we're doing. That's about all I got.
Any questions for Chad? No? Thank you, sir. Next, Fire Department, Chief Myers.
Well, I had a whole lot to talk about, and I don't want to be the only one talking a lot, so. We do get our radio systems up and running. It's working. You know, you guys are using it too, so it's, we've had a few issues, but nothing major. So far, we're still at zero cost to us as a city, so hope we keep it that way. We are gonna do chili for the parade again this year, like we did last year. So I believe one of the churches is doing hot dogs, so we're gonna supply chili as well. We are trying to plan some kind of an event, community event for sometime this spring, touch a truck, something like that. So it'll be something we try to get all the other departments involved in. Really the only other thing I got, like Chief Halliburton said, we had trunk or treat, went great. Us and the police department, Parks and Rec did donate some candy, but they, you know, weren't able to be there. But it could not have happened without Christy going to Sam's and buying it for us. So that's the main thing right there. But that's all I've got.
And you still got the coat drive going on?
Oh yeah. We don't have very many right now, so we can use all we can get. Because it's eventually going to get cold.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually. When it does, it's going to be 10 degrees for a high. So.
Any questions for Chief Meyer? So, Chief, while you're finishing up, I also wanted to thank Chief Meyer and Chief Halliburton. So they both participated in giving an escort for West Forks cross-country teams to the city limits, if
And
you
I
will.
think they even won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the teams did really well this year, and we had a parent call and ask if we could do something for them. That was kind of what we settled on we could do, was give them a nice escort out of town, and so both chiefs participated. both departments, and we were able to do that for the
Good
kids.
excuse to drive with license sirens and there's no emergency. So it's not a bad thing.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and it was what senior high boys won, state, so, all the teams, boys, girls, and junior high, did really well, this year, so that was cool. And finally, Finance Director, Christie.
So our bank totals are up, our bank balances are up 53,000 for the year. I did put a correction in here, so last month I reported that sales tax was at 6%, and when I went to do my report this month, I realized that I had a typo in there. So I actually have, two sections down there at the bottom, one for January through September, and then another one for January through October, just so you can see the corrected numbers. We're staying steady at 10.5%, which is better than 6%, so. On the water budget, our bank balances have increased by 149,000, and, our sewer, income versus expenses, are still staying in the black, although we are negative 91,000 overall for the year. A couple more dry months and we might get close. Other than that, we have the HVAC unit installed at the community center that you guys asked us to do. I don't know if anybody's noticed or not, but in your emails that are coming from the city as mass emails, that address, this email address for the city has changed. We were having problems with Gmail blocking some of our bulk emails, so we've had to go to a Gmail address to send anything with more than 2 people in it. So if you start seeing something from a Gmail address, it is a legitimate address. We have made the decision to change health insurance providers for next year, so we'll be going to the Municipal League health insurance. The cost is very similar, the coverages are very similar, where it should be a little less expensive to add family on, so that's one of the main draws to moving to that. And then Isaac didn't mention this, but Isaac and Amanda and I have been working down with the Homestead homeowners to try to get their right of entry easement signed, so that when Nick's ready to proceed down there, we'll have that. I think we've gotten
47, I believe.
about 47 of them done already, so we've only been working on it a couple of weeks, so it's not too bad. The ones that we have left may be a little bit harder to get a hold of, but we've been trying to get the word out down there that we're coming around. We've been going door to door and leaving letters and trying to contact the owners of the rental properties that don't actually live down there, so been doing a lot of work on that. That's all I have.
Any questions for Christie?
Well, that was a bunch and just stopped, didn't it?
No questions? Okay. So that ends our business reports. We don't have any old business, but we do have some new business this month. And first up is discussion on water and sewer rate increases. To include the introduction of an ordinance for water rates and sewer rates, as well as setting a public hearing if we are in agreement on those rate increases. And everyone has a copy of that in their packet. Christie's broken that out so that we can see where we currently are, what the proposed increase would be, and what those differences would be. As everyone knows, this is tied to the water and sewer increase that the city of Fayetteville passed recently. Are there any questions with those rates? What discussion do we have with those? And then we can talk about let's talk about the rate, the proposed rate increases first, and then we can talk about the actual ordinances that we have that are behind that. So on the water, I will note that West Fork hasn't raised its water rates it's been right around 10 years since the water rates have increased. Sewer, unfortunately, we've raised multiple times in the recent past.
I don't see we have any choice, though.
I agree, I don't have much to say. What are we
Okay.
gonna do?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm so proud about it, but.
We can talk about it if you want, but at the end of the day, it's gotta do what it's gotta do.
Okay. So let's look at some of the ordinances that we have that we've put together. There's a couple of items that I want to note. We'll start with the water ordinance. One thing I want to note is with regard to Homestead, we'd initially talked about, and we had even talked to Fayetteville, it's in our contract with Fayetteville, about Fayetteville doing a meter read, because Fayetteville provides the water to the Homestead subdivision. Initially, we'd talked about taking their meter reads, having them bill for sewer, us paying them a fee for that billing. In looking at this deeper, and I'm not sure how this happened, this kind of snuck up on me, I'll be honest with you. But at the same time we were doing that, when the state came in and forced us to raise our water and sewer rates to cover the price of us tying into Fayetteville, we had put in our contract, and I'm getting ahead of myself because we're talking about water. I'll save that for sewer. So of note on the water contract, on the water ordinance, let me get myself straightened out. We have added, we've always had a water tapping fee. What we have added to this is a meter fee. And what we're trying to, West Fork doesn't have impact fees. So if someone comes in and builds a subdivision in West Fork, the city of West Fork essentially provides the meters for all of those houses at no cost. And so what we're trying to do here is basically recoup our cost for those meters. So that's the major change within the water ordinance, that and setting a monthly or a yearly increase of 3% on water for 5 years. And so what we're trying to do is, again, we haven't raised those water rates in a decade. What we're trying to do is say, hey, every year we're going to raise those water rates 3%. So we get an increase on that each year. Everyone can, the maintenance costs have went through the roof over the last decade, and we have not raised rates to stay competitive with that. So we're trying to get a steady rate increase attached to water sales. We've set that for 5 years, beginning in 25. Within that 5-year period, West Fork is required to do a water rate analysis study, water and sewer study, the same as what Fayetteville just completed. And so the state has came in and basically mandated that everyone do those analysis on the water and sewer systems. And so ours is going to be due within that 5-year period. And so that's why we've said we're suggesting getting that yearly increase in place for now, and then that may have to be adjusted once we do that analysis. Any thoughts on those two items?
Keith, I want to point out also that Fayetteville's ordinance also does an automatic 3% increase, so we'll really just be matching their increase each year also.
Yes.
The lack of raises over the 10-year period makes this look like you're going from nothing to, it's the appearance of what it looks like more than the actual
Yes,
increases.
that's
Well,
true.
Why is it not starting until 2025?
So we're proposing an increase beginning in 24 to match what Fayetteville is doing.
Uh-huh.
And so
Then
then
3%.
the following
Okay.
year, we would go up
Okay, gotcha.
3%, yes. Any questions about that water ordinance? So let's look at the sewer ordinance. As I started saying, when we started looking at Homestead, we were talking about having Fayetteville do the billing, and we noticed that when the state was having us do those sewer rate increases, we had put in a sewer-only customer flat fee. So we had put that in our ordinance, saying that if you did not have the city of West Fork water and you only had sewer, you would pay a flat fee rather than, because we didn't have anything to meter, is just a thought. And we actually have one West Fork resident that doesn't have city water, they do have city sewer. And they are paying our current flat rate fee for sewer. And so I just wanted to highlight that that is in here, because that, again, I did not realize we had done that when we did all those rate increases. And I had told Homestead that, you know, it was gonna be based off of the meter reads, and that was incorrect.
So they'll be paying,
So we pay,
Flat
they'll be
fee.
paying the flat fee?
Yes. So what initially, let me say, not say initially, what we do with people who are outside the city limits that tie onto water, and this was my assumption that we did the same thing with sewer until I caught this, but we charge an outside of the city limit fee, an additional fee on top of their bill of $22.50. And that's why this rate is a little bit higher than what a normal West Fork rate, when we look at those rates in West Fork, what they would be. Part of that is because it has that $22.50 built into it.
so the city of Fayetteville won't bill them?
Christie?
So we still have a lot to discuss with Fayetteville and figure out, but we have talked to their billing department. Right now, I think the easiest thing to do would be for us to have those accounts. If we don't have to exchange rates or meter readings, sorry, if we don't have to exchange meter readings and it's just a flat fee, it's gonna be easier if we do our own billing. Fayetteville will still have to assist us in that because they're gonna have to require proof that those sewer accounts have been opened before the water service can start. And then also in turn, if we have one that doesn't pay, then we'll be working with Fayetteville to make sure to give them warnings that their water would be shut off if they don't pay their sewer bill. This is something that Fayetteville is currently doing with Washington Water Authority, so they have a system in place. It's new, they're still working some kinks out. I'm hoping by the time we get there, they'll have some of their kinks worked out. That is an option right now, and it's the option that, as of right now, that I think would work best for us. But we do have, in the original contract that we signed up with Fayetteville for the sewer treatment, it says that they will do the billing for us. So we have some options. We're just trying to figure out what would work best for us and the customer, so.
And as Christie said, they're in a situation like this, Fayetteville is with Washington Water Authority. We found out, was your meeting last week, Isaac? Whatever Isaac's sewer meeting was, Fayetteville is once, Christie talked to billing, and billing says, hey, we've got an account, this is what we're doing. Jace Branson, who works for Fayetteville Water, he's part of the water board, and he actually said, well, they're looking at terminating the way they're currently doing it. So there's a little bit of indecision in Fayetteville too, in terms of how they want to move forward on those types of billing situations.
But we have some time to determine that, Nick. Right. I mean, we're a year probably before we have to actually have a billing plan in place, so we've got some time, but it's definitely something we're already looking into.
So what we've done so far is Christie has contacted Fayetteville's billing department to try to basically build a relationship and say, hey, how are you guys doing this? How can we work together? What are some of our options? And so that's kind of where we're at with that.
So if we do a flat rate and they use a bunch of water and we're treating a bunch of sewer, how's that gonna work out?
We're working on averages. There's gonna be some that use a lot of water and some that use a little water. And with our rate structure set there, we're hoping that will balance out for us.
But we won't know until
That's right.
they're on, so.
That's part of what Washington Water Authority is doing for Fayetteville right now, is providing them, once every 6 months or whatever, providing them the average reading. And Fayetteville is taking into consideration just a couple of months out of the year, at the end of the year, so that they're not figuring in irrigation amounts and stuff like that over summer usage when they might be filling a pool or something like that. So that's something else that Fayetteville and I have discussed, is them providing us with readings for those properties a couple of times a year, so that we can just make sure that we are covering our costs on that.
So if they use 45, it could be a whole bunch. That'd be more than $124. Way more.
Do what, Don?
I'm just saying that
We was discussing.
if they used a whole bunch of water, it'd be quite a bit more than
Absolutely.
the flat fee.
Now, do keep in mind that the average household is using somewhere between 2 and 5 per month. That's kind of where the average falls for household usage.
And will we have communication with Fayetteville that would let us know?
That's what Christie was saying, that yes, that's
I mean,
something
like
they're
a
talking
red-
about.
Like
is
a red flag thing, not just like every 6 months, but a red flag thing if they use 50,000 gallons of water 1 month.
I'm sure that's something we can discuss with Fayetteville.
You know, I mean, that would be nice to know that we got a house that's doing that.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't really matter to us on the water, but it would be a big water or sewer bill.
I would think if they use that, they got a leak somewhere.
Well, yeah,
That or they filled up a
Yeah.
pool and it hasn't went through
Yeah,
the sewer
went in
system.
with
Yeah.
the sewer anyway.
But yeah, it's certainly something we can discuss with Fayetteville
Yeah.
is trying to put some sort of a red flag, as you stated, in place, that if someone's usage spikes, that we get notified, because Fayetteville's gonna get notified, right? We have the same thing in place. If somebody's meter reading spikes, hey, we need to go out and do a reread on that and make sure that.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm sure we could do something like that, tie that to the sewer.
And I do have a question on that.
Yeah.
It's off of this, but, okay, say I don't even know what the average water bill is. What's the average typical water bill? Like 150?
So
Average for,
Water and sewer,
there's gonna be about, right now, it's gonna be around 115 to 140.
okay. So if we have a customer, a citizen in West Fork, that their bill is like $300 for 2 months, how come we don't contact them and say, hey, we've noticed an increase, do you have a leak, or?
Typically, we do.
We do, okay.
Yeah, so when Isaac's guys read the meters, or all those that are electronic that come in, if we see something abnormal on that, we do go back and try to address that.
Okay. I didn't know. I had people complain telling me that they weren't notified, and then they've asked, and but anyway, I don't know.
So I can assure you that anytime do you know what the parameter is? I know Amanda does,
I
but
don't. RVS spits them back out if it's.
I wanna say it's 5,000 gallons different, but it's based on like a year's average. So if you had a high bill in the summer, and then you have a 5,000 gallon jump in December, it might not notify us. But typically, if it's something like, if someone's used over 10,000 gallons, it's typically gonna alert us, and we do our best to contact those people.
And I do know that people have told me also that you have contacted them, but I've also had it on the other side where they're complaining that their water and sewer is sky high, and why doesn't anybody come and check it out? You
So
know.
for one, it's not the city's position to check that out, right? That's technically water that's went through their meter,
Yeah.
but we do have a system in place that gauges that usage and it tries to look for those spikes so that we can. Now, there was 1 month where we had implemented some new software for billing that, so the kind of the ordinary operations are, we get the meter readings, we look at them. If anything is out of alignment, we contact the customer. 1 month, the software automatically sent out the e-bills, and we hadn't had a chance to even look at them. And so I know we had at least one person who had a leak that month, and they were.
We had a misreading in there. We had put a number in wrong, and so it looked like a astronomical bill, but we just hadn't had time to go in and get our corrections and fix it, so.
Yeah, but we've since addressed that issue as well, so.
But again, we can take responsibility by looking at that, if we have the new meters
Yeah.
and getting the app, we can take responsibility ourselves and be checking that every month.
Absolutely.
And anytime someone calls us, whether their bill is $20 more than it has been, $5 more than it has been in the past, or $500 more than it has been in the past, if they call us, we always go out and recheck it. To the point where we'll meet them there and show them the numbers we got, and so we don't just automatically, if someone's bill's $5 higher, we're not going out and looking at that, because we can't catch all
Yeah,
those.
I would think hundreds would,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
If it's anything like that, it's being
Yeah.
reread.
But there's a lot of information on that app just to watch it.
There is.
Should we put that on the water bill? Because I think a lot of customers don't know about it.
The problem with that is only half the town has that.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a digital meter, you don't have that.
Oh,
And we
God,
have-
don't do it then.
We have put the information on Facebook, we've put it out there, and I think a lot of people that have the digital meters are on that. We do
Okay.
have people sign up, and anytime, like today, we did rereadings, when Amanda called and starts talking to people, if they have those, she tells them then, like, this is, so we promote it a lot, from within, but it's also confusing to people that call and say, I want this, and we're like, oh, you don't have that, so. One of these days, we'll have digital meters throughout town.
Isaac
So-
said he just
Don't
needs,
have to meter read ever again.
Right.
So, for example, my household of 7, we last month used 7,000 gallons of water. Teenagers.
About how much is that bill?
That bill is $215.80. $136.30 is sewer.
Yeah.
So if it's a larger household, then with rates going up, that's about a $20 increase is what's gonna happen to my sewer bill. Okay, we don't have a choice. But that flat rate fee, if there's more than 4 people in that household, is not enough. Is where I'm headed with that. I do not feel that that's enough, because I'm paying way more. And because all of our neighbors that have more than 4 people in their house are gonna be paying way more than that flat rate fee of that sewer.
Good point.
Cause I mean, literally that's gonna be 136 plus 20, that's gonna be 156 ballpark. And that's $30 less. You
But you
know,
also have the opposite side of the spectrum where it's an older couple living.
by all means,
are
by all
using
means.
Less than 2,000 gallons of water, so.
By all means. So I guess I don't know if there's a way to meter it. I don't know if there's a way to put a base based on the amount of people in the household. And I know will be ludicrous trying to keep all that straight either way. But I'm just making a statement that
Yeah.
some of my people have asked about.
You're basically saying you're gonna feel the pain too of the increase.
Everybody
in their
else,
house.
yeah, by all means.
So I will say with that, and this is, Nick can stop me if I'm wrong here, but we did our increases came because we tied into the city of Fayetteville, and we had to take out loans to do that. And our project cost, $8 million. The city of Elkins is having to rebuild a lift station, a pump station, for their sewer. And the first time I heard that being talked about a couple years ago, that cost was at $18 million. And the last time I heard somebody talking about that, it's at $28 million.
I've heard it had gone up significantly. What's
30 million.
30 million?
Yeah. But they've also got a lot of pipe to rebuild too.
Yeah, yeah.
So ours went up, terribly. But Isaac and I were talking, in reality, we may have got ours completed just in time. As COVID came in, prices of everything skyrocketed. And I'll be surprised if, Greenland's in the middle of a project.
They are.
Elkins is in the middle of that project. And, just like us, right, we planned that project. We got estimates from Nick on what that project was going to cost. But when we started to do the project, things had already went up. Imagine how some of they may have a hard time funding some of those projects. So thoughts, any other thoughts on the proposed rate increase, on the changes to the water and sewer ordinances? And Jimmy, I think you're right. I think that's definitely something we need to keep an eye on. Are we maintaining a profitable system within Homestead? We don't want them if we're not.
We already know how much we are using sewer wise. So adding them into that, we will be able to roughly know how much we're adding in. Obviously, that fluctuates on a monthly basis. But that being said,
the flip side of that is too, so since that will be a brand new system, we should have very little I&I in there.
Mhm.
So we should know exactly what those usages are within that subdivision. And so, yeah, our hope is with this in place that we can reconcile it and see, does it match? Are we charging a fair amount? And we're trying to be conscious of, there are some retirees in Homestead that are gonna be using a minimum amount, as well as some families in there who are using increased amounts.
I assume this will be metered going out of their whole usage?
So we have that meter at the lift
And will it
station.
be separate from our meter for Westport?
Isaac, can you speak to that, or Nick? Will there be any kind of a metering going out of Homestead so we can see exactly what's going through
What
that?
Homestead's producing?
No.
So it's just gonna go down and hit the main and then run into the lift station?
You'll see it you'll definitely see an increase at the pump station, every month, but we'll probably be able to get somewhat of an estimate based on averages.
Yeah, through the dry months, like right now, we're not
So you really won't.
pushing much sewer up through there at all, so if you added 80 homes right now, we could probably tell exactly how much water they were using in that subdivision. So we'll have those numbers, I'll have those numbers forever, so yeah, we can go back to October of this year and compare it to when they get tied in and know
Right.
about what it jumps up, so.
Yeah, okay.
I'm assuming the meters, like, the cost is prohibitive.
Putting a meter on the Homestead line. It's gravity flow, and those get a little more complicated. We're doing one in Cave Springs right now. Of course, it's a much bigger line. It's a 24-inch line, but it's a pretty significant cost. Compared to the flow meter at the lift station, a pumped, actual magnetic flow meter
those still carry some dollars, but you actually have to build a structure and have measuring equipment in there and telemetry and all that where you can read it, and you start attaching a lot of zeros to that just to get a monthly total for it. It does increase.
So it sounds to me like it would be easier to take some readings from
Just do some
Fayetteville.
averages.
Yeah, to get what Fayetteville's billing in water and start looking at it looking at that versus what our flow has went up at the lift station.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
If that was built in at all.
Yeah.
And that's information we might be able to pull right now to look at maybe the flat rate fee. I mean, we can get an average of each household in there now and see if the flat rate is gonna even out the lesser customers versus the higher customers, so.
Yeah.
Right.
So that might be information that they give us right now if we ask, so.
I just hate to start out in the hole to begin with.
So what are they paying for sewer right now? I know it's pretty high.
It
per
is.
house.
Christy, do you remember?
Their monthly bill is like $65 a month, and then they're paying about $300 a year for the loan that's
Yeah.
through their property taxes, so that's about $25 a month. So at $85 to $90 a month actual payment, and then of course they've got pumps and
Yeah.
lines and all that they're responsible for. So.
And that's just the sewer.
Yeah.
Got Fayetteville water on top of that, yeah.
So I hear the law requires us to at least introduce this
Okay.
sewer, not so much the water, but we can, but I think you probably at least have the council assent to that with all in favor or something like that, so we
Okay.
can have it in the minutes that it was introduced.
Do we have any objections to that?
I didn't.
So, in order to try to stay on a timeline so that we can get these implemented as Fayetteville implements them on us, we need to at least take a vote that we are willing to introduce these ordinances tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So with the sewer, we will have to have a public hearing before we can do any increases on sewer. But we would like to get a vote that, yes, we have introduced the water and sewer ordinances tonight.
I'll make a motion for that.
That's second.
So we have a motion and a second that we've introduced these ordinances. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. The next item in that, in 1C, is to set a public hearing for December 12th.
Same day as our city council meeting.
It's just recommended.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Is it a motion?
My motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to set that public hearing on December 12th at 2023 at 6:30, same time as our usual start date for city council. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. And we will have, we've already began talking about some of, trying to put together some info for anyone that attends that public hearing to kind of see where this is coming from. I know for us, we've been talking about sewer rates for ever, it feels like, but there may be some that come to that public hearing that, you know, some of this is new to, so we're gonna try to have some data for them so that they can see why these rates are going in, what the effects are, and that type of thing. All right, item 2, McClellan contract for Homestead Sewer Project. Nick, you want to speak to this?
Sure.
I thought he was working for free.
He does that a lot.
For a bit I have been. So I imagine you'll have the agreement there in the packet. So that agreement is, you know, the same boilerplate agreement we did with the West Fork connection to Fayetteville. I know there's a lot of information in there, so feel free to ask questions. I don't know if it made it in there, but I've got a summary of fees at the back that kind of helps show how it all totals up, because there's not a nice place in the agreement that it says a little, you know, this much here and this much here, and I tried to compile it all into one nice table so y'all can see, because we've got our pre-construction services, which is, you know, preliminary engineering, design, the environmental, and doing a cost and effective analysis. Then we've got our construction phase. And then our additional services, or what I call special services, where we've got to do an archaeological survey, wetlands, stormwater pollution prevention plan, surveys, easements, easement negotiation and appraisals. So got all that outlined in one table there. Sure, it's quiet.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement.
Second. Can you do that?
Will you amend that to add for the $360,000 in engineering fees?
Yes,
So that we'll have that for the auditor specifically?
yes.
It's on the very back page, Don, if you're looking for that, right there.
Yeah.
So
With that added.
we've amended the
Still
motion.
second.
We still have a second. All those in favor say yes.
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 Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Thank you, Nick.
Thank y'all. I can give a quick update too if y'all want to
Please.
hear where we are. So first of all, I appreciate Isaac and Christy and Amanda's efforts in helping with the right of entries. It's much appreciated. We still have, I think, somewhere between 6 and 8 backyards we're trying to get access to finish out our surveys. We're not holding up on that. We're still pushing our plans. I was just checking with Trent back in the office, and he said that pretty confident we'll be submitting our plans to the health department around the end of the month, end of this month, November, so we can get approvals and keep this project moving forward. We are working on easements right now. I know we're actively negotiating with one property owner, and they seem to be going fairly well. We got an initial appraisal and are running with that to start negotiations to allow us. We're having to do that, so he'll allow us out there to finish our field work. We've got to do our archaeological and wetlands stuff out there. He was holding up access until we started that process. But we still need to get with the state. They've been a little bit silent the past month. I know they're very busy, but we still have to get a memorandum of agreement done with all the terms of the loan and milestone dates. But again, we're not waiting on them. We're pushing as hard as we can to get this project bid out and awarded by March 31st of next year, because that's the current deadline for ARPA funding, and I haven't heard otherwise. So we want to hit that milestone to make sure we can capture the money. Y'all have any questions for me?
No?
Glad you're the expert.
Oh, I wouldn't call myself the expert. I got a team back in the office that
Yeah, the whole
know all the
team.
details. So, all right. Well, thank y'all.
Thanks, Nick. Item 3, an ARPA request. So Isaac is requesting some of those ARPA funds in the amount of $73,000 to do some sewer improvements on White Street. So sewer department is continuing to hunt down our I&I. Where are we getting that inflow from groundwater? And this is something he had found several months ago and has been working toward the opportunity to start to get into it. And I think if you look at that request, it identifies all of the work he's doing there and the estimated cost for that. But there's replacing 5 manholes, 850 foot of pipe, and 9 sewer taps. And then obviously, there's gonna be some repaving to do on that street to get it back in shape.
Well, it definitely needs to be done.
Yeah, so this is one that, I can't remember when we did the flow monitoring, Nick.
That was in
Nick and them,
22.
Nick and them come in and did the flow monitoring, and this is, there's roughly 1,800 feet of pipe total on that stretch. Well, that was pegging out the flow monitor for that short little section of pipe, so this is, and I scaled it way down, because there's a couple of manholes that don't have bottoms in them down there that just pour water in. We scaled it back to do just White Street and then replace a manhole on Maple that's failing. But we're gonna do service lines and everything, so it'll be pretty much just brand new from Seek Church to Maple Street.
And we should be capturing a lot of I&I out of
Sounds
this
like it.
project.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Item 4, memorandum of understanding with the school resource officer for 2024.
Sergeant Goggins, I hope you're never sick. You gotta call a lot of people if you're sick.
Goggins has never been sick a day in his life. And I will say that Sergeant Goggins was out on some training, and Chief Halliburton did fill in for a few days as the SRO. So one of the issues we've had with the SRO program is in the past we've been understaffed, and so if there was something that pulled the SRO out of the school, that was happening more and more. Mr. Carnes drove a pretty hard bargain with Bruce on that. And Bruce tried to explain that, hey, we're fully staffed for the first time in many years. That shouldn't be as big of an issue anymore. But as Chief Halliburton mentioned, we did relent and moved from a 65% reimbursement down to a 58%. You know, we're trying to recoup our costs there, but at the same time, we're trying to provide a service for the city school district. So it's one of those things, and Mr. Carnes, you know, he gets it too. He's working within his budget, trying to make sure he's getting all the value that he can out of it. So, Bruce, did I miss anything with that?
No, that was his major point of contention. That we, you know, like I said in the past, that we hadn't, he didn't feel like he was getting 65% out of it. So from here forward, and I explained to him that here forward, now that we're fully staffed, and now that I am here, whenever he goes out of town, I will be filling in for him as school resource officer. So next year we'll have to have another conversation on what the price is.
Is that based on the percentage of time that our officer spends at the school?
That was his contention. Personally, I didn't understand it because I could throw a rock and hit the school from the police department.
Right.
So I didn't understand, you know, he's still right there, you know,
Right.
phone call away, you know, just same as it would be if he was in another building. So I didn't really, I didn't get his points, but, you know, in the spirit of, just trying to help out and be a good partner, I said, okay, we'll try to do 58 if the board and the council, and the mayor and the council approve it.
Everybody feels like they get cheated.
That's how you know it's good negotiation.
Yeah.
Well, Chief and I were talking, you know, that haggling over percentage, and I don't think there's anything tracking that metric of exactly how much time were we there versus how much were, and I'm not saying one person's right or wrong, I'm just saying without a metric in place where we're,
Well, it's the problem of when do they take their comp time during the summer on his time, not the
Right.
school's
Oh, sure,
time,
sure.
and when does he take vacation during the summer on his time, not the school's
Yeah.
time, and, understandable.
So anybody have any questions or concerns on that?
Nope. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the memorandum of understanding on school resource officer. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Item 5 is to set a date for the budget workshop. I know we've been talking about that, and we've been trying to get, the last time we talked about this, we were trying to get information on health insurance. We had this SRO memorandum to get worked out, and then we also had the increase in sewer rates that we had to, work into the budget as well. And so all of that has kind of tied us up with trying to get a budget to bring forth to the council. But would everyone be available on the 28th?
Tuesday.
I think so. Good night, Jim. See you.
So we are looking at a 6 o'clock there. We'll let Marty furnish dinner.
Heck, yeah.
Pick something up on my way from work. That's Zeke's 20th birthday, so guess if I can't feed my boy that night.
He's gonna be out anyway.
Okay. 57, so all right. Yeah.
It works for me.
Do we have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries.
I know he's waiting on a motion. He did that 10 minutes ago.
Item D, other business. Other business. Does the council have any other business that wasn't on the agenda tonight that they would like to bring forward?
No, I wanted to ask you what's going on, when are we gonna do something on the bridge?
So, having no other business, we'll move into the mayor's comments.
Guess that was gonna be-
I'll give a bridge update. So, everyone has seen that West Fork now has 2 stoplights officially, the first in our town's history. So we know that the bridge they are gonna replace that between now and the 2026 budget. We may get a news article on that this weekend. 2451 is possibly gonna meet with Isaac on Thursday to discuss that. But what's going on right now, Don, is that bridge failed an inspection. And so they're having to look at doing some work to it, so.
Spend some money on it before.
Spend some money on it before they replace it. So what they're doing is they're looking at some stuff on those pilings to see if can they fix it, or there is a possibility that they may have to put a weight limit on the bridge between now and replacing it. So we're hoping that they're able to do repairs rather than weight limits. But the state has not been really forthcoming with what they're doing. They brought in stoplights, put them at the bridge, never said anything to somebody. Chief Halliburton thought about having them towed off, just because nobody notified the city what was going on.
Do they
I like
have
the signs they got up here too.
This is the state highway? Do
The
they-
bump.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear all the conversations.
Oh. I assure you that was nothing important.
Thank you.
So that is the update on the bridge, and that's what they're doing. They're looking to see if they can make some repairs to it. It would be nice if those repairs led to a sooner rather than later replacement of the bridge. But unless something's happened that I haven't been made aware of, that's where we're at.
Yeah, they were here last week, and we're underneath there doing something, and I haven't seen them. Now, they come and sit in Chad's Park all day some days, but...
So it was kind of funny, we were sitting in here having our department head meeting last week, laughing about the stoplights and the fact that they'd been there for so long. By the time they did make them operational, everybody was gonna forget they were there, and we left, and they had them turned on. So, that's what's going on with the bridge. I also wanted to remind everybody, we have the Christmas parade coming up. That date is set for December 6th at 6 p.m.
Festivities start at 6, parade at 6:30.
Yeah. Tree lighting shortly thereafter. We will have another float for the council to ride on this year. So looking forward to that. I think Planning Commission is talking about a float.
Well, we never came on a decision, but we'll see.
You don't have much time.
That's right.
You better get them on it if they're going to, Walter.
That's right.
Do we have any entrance yet? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I do know we're changing we're not doing the big
Yes.
small town big lights this year because we weren't having a lot of activity, so we have had a donation for a float contest. So there will be a float contest with the parade.
So a lot of you guys have been on here long enough to remember we had the Christmas light contest for a while, and then we kind of shut that down because there was a lack of interest in it. That's kind of what we've seen with Christmas lights again. The interest has kind of started to lull a little bit. So they thought the parade committee came up with, hey, how about a contest for floats this year in lieu of a Christmas light contest. So ours is coming along really well. There's a good chance City Council may win the float contest. Just saying.
We're all running. That's a huge truck.
Sure, you don't have a chance.
Yeah. I'd also like to give everybody an update. So we're talking about sewer, and one of our issues with the sewer is, and we've mentioned this several times, we have about 1,470, 80, 90 water customers in the city of West Fork, but we only have about 750 sewer customers, which makes the sewer that much more expensive when we throw on the cost, the burden of paying that debt. Isaac mentioned the Smith Street development is starting to come along, so that they've got the sewer finished, wrapping up the water. Hopefully we'll start to see some homes built there in early 24. So we're looking at about 27 homes in that subdivision. Since we've last met, the 6.5 acres there on the bluff that they came to us at one point for an RV park, that property has sold. And I've met with a developer about that. The developer came down and talked to Isaac a little bit more this week. So that project is moving forward. We're looking to schedule a meeting with the engineers to talk about some more on that. They're looking at approximately 30 homes on that project, which was after the RV park. We had somebody looking at
the row houses.
Yeah, so we had somebody looking at 30 homes. They backed out of it. Now we have somebody else looking at something similar, around 30 homes. We also have Homestead, which we're talking about bringing on. That'll be about a year out, but that's 80 homes that will come onto sewer. And then just this week, maybe it was the end of last week, the property, which is about 14 acres next to Arvest, has changed hands. So the co-op has sold that property to a developer, and we're not real sure what to expect there. When I talked to the developer, he was still kind of throwing some ideas here, there, and yonder. Wasn't real sure what direction he was going to go. Single family, multifamily. talked about an RV park. So he had lots of ideas. But presumably we will see something start to materialize out of that as well. So all of that to say, between Smith Street, the 6.5 acres and Homestead, you know, we're getting up close to 150 homes added onto the sewer system with just those, and then, you know, that 14 acres at Arvest could potentially be, you know, as many as 60 houses in there if they were to do homes in it. So it does look, you know, and we've talked about this with the budget and with sewer fees and rates and how this could be, you know, it could really benefit the city as far as helping with those sewer expenses that we have. So I thought that was good news, and happy to see some land transacting and moving forward with that. John, that's all I've got.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for their prayers. We've seen it, and thank y'all, and I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries.
So many times.